This is Danny from Baltimore, Maryland, representing one of the 6 Wolves fans in Baltimore. You're listening to DU Football Show.
He was doing his bit yesterday.
What was that?
He, on Instagram, whenever they win, he then goes out on a big, giant, drunken stupor and puts it all on Twitter.
Nice.
The whole time, so good reason to drink. But then, of course, I mean, who doesn't beat Spurs these days, right?
Yeah, no shit.
Well, let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right day, the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of a lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by 2 common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, my co-host, full pone, recovered from his time as a T-Rex, my co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. How we doing, buddy?
Not doing too bad, actually. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing lovely. Producer Mel is away on assignment,
Yes,
so I
she
am
is.
handling the 1s and 2s tonight as well. Double duty, as it were.
There you go.
You know, doing what I do. We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Typically, you can watch us streaming live, but you can't tonight because we're recording on a different night, and I can't do 5 fucking things at once.
The only video we know how to pull up is Pornhub, so.
I've also been told by producer Mel when I tried, when I asked about doing the whole, hey, let me do I want to help, I want to learn. She's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, watching you just try to fade that out and do the intro kind of looked like when you used to try to rub your belly and pat your head. You were struggling.
I managed perfectly fine. Thank you very much. Sam and myself both walking the wine. Oh, you know what? It would be good if I did the call to action there, too.
Let's do that first.
Yeah,
yeah,
it would
that's
help.
typically how it goes.
Yeah, see.
Perfectly, did you?
Perfect opportunity there, and I fucked it up.
The old curse of the commentator.
Should you want to chat with us, there's many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Absolutely. It is at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com, Sam, and that's how you do it perfectly, my friend.
Well, it's a lot easier to do when you only got one fucking thing to do. You know, that's how it works. Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we've got to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Mr. Graham, what are we drinking tonight?
Tonight we are drinking Douglas Lang's Rock Oyster. It is a blended malt Scotch whiskey, which means it is a blend of various single malts. So whiskey that's made at different distilleries, but are all single malts, much like Monkey Shoulder, for instance. But all of these are made along the coastline. Extraordinary character with maritime island qualities. Has a ton of brine to it. I think there's a little bit of peat in there. One of those blends might have some peat to it. I do get a touch of smokiness, but overall it's that sea air really and seaweedy kind of air and quality affecting these barrels in this whiskey, and it's fucking delicious and perfect on a cold night.
You're not allowed to say, but if you know anything about Scottish whiskey, it's not hard to deduct. There's some Talisker in there. There's some Oban in there. There's some Scapa in there.
Probably
there's
some Chivas.
There's some Highland Park in there as well. And all of those have exactly some of those flavors you're talking about.
Or Chivas.
Well, that's technically a blend, my friend.
I know. Yeah, I just like making fun of people that don't say Chivas.
Our brethren in the Latin community, Buchanan for Buchanan's. That is number one. Have you just complete offshoot weird topic? Buchanan's. Have you had the pineapple yet?
Oh, I've tasted it. Yeah,
it actually doesn't suck.
That's pretty fucking good.
It's like really fucking
so
good.
You know what I want? One of my many ideas floating around my head for July 3rd is to walk around with that and a bottle of pineapple juice. And I'm gonna wear a wife beater this year.
You'll be living your typical,
or I'll just show up on Cinco de Mayo and pretend like that's my day.
You're living your best white trash life, or as we call it, any day of the week for you.
Yeah. Anyway, with this one, let's get back to it properly. You are looking at 46.8% by volume, and I told you that way because I couldn't do the math fast enough in my head. That looks like it is 93.6 proof. There we go.
Here we go. Math is fun.
Mathin'.
See? Yeah, you talk about me and my problems.
I
with
like
doing
when
two
the
things
math
at
math.
once. You suddenly had to math. Your brain went, durr.
It's like I stepped over the dart line. Don't know what it is. You know what the best part about it is you don't know how to edit this. So everybody's going to know you fucked up.
Oh, no. Well, I do know how to edit. I'm leaving it in because it deserves to be in because people like when the hosts fuck up.
Yeah.
Hosts.
You
see, Graham, it makes us become more relatable.
More human. Yeah.
So we don't look like podcast boy with the vest and the pointing.
I brought a vest just in case because you didn't pre-plan your oil delivery. It's a little chilly in here.
It'd be all right. We'll be all right.
It was actually too cold for the vest. I had to wear the full jacket.
The full jacket hurt. Very good. What else do we need to do, Mr. Graham?
Always remember to drink your Rock Oyster responsibly.
Very good, sir. Very good. All right. So most of the times we open with like kind of an interesting storyline or a big rivalry.
I find this to be very interesting, to be honest.
And yeah, I'm sure you do. But today we just simply open with 3 really kick-ass matches.
Yeah.
Wolverhampton 2, Tottenham 1, Everton 3, Crystal Palace 2, West Ham 3, Nottingham Forest 2. What a fucking finish to that game at the Molineux.
Absolutely. It was a hell of a start by Tottenham, actually. But you could tell that they don't trust this makeshift backline because they immediately retreated within themselves, it seemed. They did not put their, whenever you start like that, especially if you're the side that's supposed to win away from home and you've got a couple injuries, fucking ride that momentum and put the game away.
Yeah, get it over and done with.
What was it against Newcastle? 4-1 or something by the 12th minute?
Right.
Do that.
Yeah, fucking demolish a
Do
team.
that. Yeah.
Destroy a team.
Exactly. Make it so the back line doesn't matter. Emerson Royale doesn't have to do anything. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg doesn't have to do anything. Eric Dyer doesn't have to chase Cunha around like he's chasing shadows. But they didn't do that. They fell back and kind of retreated within themselves and tried to hit on the break. And Wolves eventually, that took a while, but they grew into the game, all of 8 minutes, where they had a raft of chances, just weren't ruthless enough to finish them. But finally in stoppage time, that damn broke. And that's what we saw. I mean, Wolves, like I said, it only took them, 8-9 minutes to really start to turn the screw. And Tottenham really didn't have an answer.
That's exactly what I have written here is Davies, Dyer, and Lo Celso on the pitch. Why aren't we surprised that they gave away the game at the death?
Yeah.
Like, they just kind of crumbled. And it's the reason why those two guys are, particularly Dyer and Davies as center backs are the backups now. Mm-hmm. They can't get it done.
Right.
And you're not
And
supposed
Davies
to have,
by trade was an outside back.
Right. And you're not supposed to have both on the pitch at the same time. You're supposed to have one on the pitch because only one guy's hurt. Not one guy's hurt and one guy likes getting reds every other fucking week.
Correct. Well, the one bit of sympathy I will say, and I said it last week and I'll say it again, is this fucking VAR took too long, and I think that contributed to Van der Ven's injury. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that's a direct result of the referees not being able to get their stuff taken care of in a nice amount of time, and his body cooled down. But anyway, you have to play with what you got.
Right, precisely.
And it didn't seem like past that first goal, Tottenham had much of a plan.
Yeah, they seemed perfectly content to see it out to a 1-0, just figuring that Wolves wouldn't score. And
for 94 minutes. And
But it wasn't like Wolves after they got that lead going. It wasn't like Wolves didn't have chances. Wolves were knocking on the door a ton.
That's what I'm saying. You have to push them back. You have to stay on them, step on their throat. And Tottenham just didn't do it.
I stand corrected. I really thought they would be hurting without Nieto. The new signing, Belgrade, played fucking
awesome.
Incredible.
He was awesome.
Absolutely incredible.
But I mean that wasn't even the thing. The touch that may be so far the goal of the season, honestly.
Oh yeah.
From Zarabia, mate.
That was nasty.
Took it with his right foot, cushioned it. And for all the kids listening at home, just watch the way he watches the ball into his foot in stride, and his eyes never leave the ball again, and just right into the near post. Fucking phenomenal.
A fucking rocket.
But as that ball was coming kind of over his shoulder, You never saw his eyes leave the ball. He just knew exactly where he was. He knew where the goal was. He knew where the goalkeeper was and was able to just keep his focus squarely on the ball. And every single piece of that was technically perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fucking brilliant.
And then the second goal with, I always mix them up, Lerma and Lamina.
It was Lamina.
There's Lamina. Lamina is with them. Lerma is with
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the ones I was trying to, because I knew there's two of them.
Yep.
I just always mix up the two names.
Yeah,
But
Lamina's goal was decent as well.
gets fouled. They do a quick kick, and it's like that's something Spurs normally do to other teams. So you would think Spurs would be ready for it, and they weren't. And he just ran right down the center.
Well, there's the problem
Boom, goal.
is they might have been, but Dyer and Ben Davies are fucking slow. They might have been ready for it, just might not have been able to do anything about it.
Right, precisely.
Is the issue.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem is Van der Ven is very pacey. Mm-hmm. And now they've completely lost that, but they are still trying to play occasionally, at least this very high line.
Right.
And it's dumb. That's just dumb.
We talked about this last week when we were talking about the bottom of the table, and we were saying what teams could possibly be drug into it, and a few of the names that came up were Wolves,
Yep.
Everton, and Fulham, and we're going to talk about Everton here in a second, but for Wolves, suddenly now comfortable in the middle of the table.
I mean, for now,
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find their actual point total real quick because I think they might actually be safe at this point on 15. Because if you look, 12 games in, that's essentially a third of the season, right? So Wolves would need to win one more game because Luton on 6 points, right? A third of the way through, 2 more sets of 6. That's 18 points. Their goal difference would be shit, more than likely. Yeah, a lot worse than Wolves, -8 right now. They'd be relegated still, right?
Yeah.
Then you look at Sheffield United on 5 points. 2 more sets of 5 after 6 games is only 15.
Mm-hmm.
And Burnley is on 4. That'd be 12. Keep one more than Derby County that day. Or that year.
Yeah.
That year, rather.
Still, Derby County would be the worst.
Still, they would be the worst. But everybody would still be safe, from Palace. I mean, I'm sure you all will, we'll come on to you guys, but you're on 14. Y'all would be safe. You'd find a way to pick up 6 more points by the end of the season.
God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't see where it's going to come from. And what I was worried about with Luton, which is why I wanted to put them in this segment, where we're going to talk about Bournemouth very shortly, and we're going to talk about Forest as well. But all we said about Luton was you have to match Bournemouth and you have to match Burnley's results, and you put yourself in a very good spot.
Yeah.
Manchester United were quite poor, and Luton couldn't do it, and Burnley couldn't do it. And now with this Bournemouth win, with this Wolves win, they're starting to create that distance, and you guys are still stuck spinning your fucking wheels.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna dent their confidence. It's gonna be a huge blow to both of those clubs moving forward, and a massive uplift and a platform for a team like Wolves.
Agreed. Spurs now have to deal with some real adversity. They are missing a lot of fucking players.
Yes, they are. Madison's out for the foreseeable future as well with the ankle injury. I think the international break comes at a good time for them because 2 weeks of rehab for these players and rest and rehabilitation just means games that aren't being played currently.
Richarlison also now having surgery on his pelvis, and
what happened?
I don't know.
What happened?
I don't
I know you're a Richarlison fuckboy. What happened?
All I know is that it was just a pelvis injury, and it's like, yeah, that writes itself, man. The joke writes itself.
Did he actually stop through that seady part of London we drove through?
Yeah, he might very well have.
Broke the old pee-pee there.
And then of course you've got the Van Viden
hamstring, which at least 6 weeks,
Right.
and then he's got to still get up to fitness, and then you've got the violent conduct, and then you probably have what do you reckon? 5 games maybe before he gets another red?
Yeah, it's
Something like
only
that.
a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. Moving on, Vitaly Mesalenko fucking does it again. 2 on the fucking bump for him.
Dwight McNeil must be punching himself in the face. He used to be the left back under Sean Dyche. Those are my goals, damn it. Is he now the leading scorer for Everton this season? Or no?
No, that would be Decore with the second goal.
I thought it'd be Ashley Young with with all the own goals.
Yeah, I heard.
But what a start! 6 minutes, left back header, Eze dancing, doing a little two-step, getting a penalty. Fucking hell. It was an amazing start to the game.
Newsflash, everybody. Eze is a really good fucking player.
Yeah, no shit.
And is really important to fucking Palace.
And I think you all dodged a fucking bullet.
Oh, yeah. I don't disagree. On that second one.
If it was called, it would have been soft, and I would agree with that. But we said it last week with the kick out on Romero and all that, that kind of stuff. You're putting yourself in a position for the referee to make a decision.
Yep.
And no matter how hard you touch him, when they stop that replay and they pause it, where the contact is, it always looks worse than it actually is.
Yeah.
And that usually sways the referee's decision.
I think on that second one, what they got away with is it just wasn't clear and obvious. That the play on the field had already been called and it wasn't completely obvious. It looked like there might have been some contact from Branthwaite. Might have been, maybe. But I don't deny that there could have been.
Absolutely.
But again, an instance where they looked at it and said, can this clearly turn over the play? No, it can't. Keep it going.
Right.
But that's okay because we gifted him a goal later in the second half.
Yeah. Well, there's the thing, right? The longest 1-2 ever, saving the blushes of Tarkowski.
Yeah.
Because what are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
Do you think Edouard just kind of... Is anyone on your back line French?
No.
So even if he said something to him, his accent would have said... He ain't one of ours.
Right, exactly. He just didn't jump.
No, he ducked.
Yeah, he had brain freeze.
I don't know if Pickford said he was coming and then didn't show up, or if Edouard... What I'm saying is if Edouard went, leave it. But it would come out like, leave it.
Yeah, right,
Which
exactly.
no one on your back line sounds like. So what are you doing? And he just ducked out of the way. Now, Edouard, good for him, followed the play, stuck with it. How many times you see he's going to get there and they give up.
Right.
And he was there to put it away, but... Some sort of miscommunication where Tarkowski thought somebody else was going to be there and had a better angle to it, and he let it go past him.
And that happened just after Everton had gone up 2-1.
Right. Decore's tap in.
Vitaly Mesalenko again, ripping it from outside the 18 off the inside of the post, and Decore putting it away, becoming now Everton's leading goal scorer.
For the season, yeah. On what, 3?
I will say... This was a very entertaining match, but make no mistake, this was not a very good match.
No.
There was a fuck ton of mistakes in this game from both sides. And
absolutely.
And also a lot of over fucking, embellishing fouls and stuff. Not so much diving as it was just some more... Everybody was going down soft. Come on. We know it's Jordan Ayew's MO to grab some part of his body every time he hits the ground. Yet he's the one who tackles people harder than anybody on the pitch kind of guy.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, part of that's just him being a forward though too, where his tackles just are shit, just completely mistimed. And
but another big one, Oliesi is back for Palace as well. And you could just see...
Elise,
Elise, I'm sorry. You could see their attack you could see what they're capable of when they have those two players on the pitch.
Absolutely, 100%. They're completely changed.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that they were going for the kill, but then they forgot to watch out.
To defend.
And
which is something you can't normally say about Palace.
And Everton just countered them right away.
But also, who thinks that... But I mean, that's could be one of the passes of the season from Decore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm a little annoyed for you and for him. He didn't even get the assist for it on the Premier League app.
Oh, really? Who'd they give it to?
Nobody.
Oh, really?
Idrissa Gueye did it himself.
Oh, I guess because it...
I don't know.
Deflected off of a...
But it was tight. Yeah. It was a good pass.
Yeah.
I mean, he thread the needle there. And Gueye with a great touch. And then the wherewithal to cut it back to the near post as he's cutting across.
And that's the guy nobody wants shooting the ball because he's much
terrible.
He's a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
When
Big
people
time.
talk about a defensive midfielder,
I like the Cobra celebration, though.
Fucking great.
Brilliant.
And done and dusted. And again, I kind of posed the same question. It's like, this is one of those teams we talk about who's someone who could get drugged back into the relegation battle. You go on the road against somebody that's right around you in the table and you fucking beat them. Like that's massive.
Yep.
That's massive. That's for Wolves did that to Everton at the start of the season.
Absolutely.
Like these are the kind of games you really want to definitely win, and that's a big fucking win for Everton.
It's absolutely huge for Everton, especially because we anticipate them to not be terribly creative. We anticipate them not to score a ton of goals. It's huge to get these 3 points that you don't necessarily expect. But conversely for Palace, I would say that they're having Eze back immediately contributing, I think it was a little bit of a cameo last week, and then this week for the full 90, and then Elise coming back, getting the cameo this week, and then hopefully next week he'll be, next time out rather, be starting again. I think they're going to be fine. We've oftentimes have, any team that has a particular talisman, we've always linked it to Zaha. And there was nobody more important to their team, point value per contribution, than Wilfried Zaha. And that doesn't seem to have really changed. It's just now split between Eze and Elise. But if those two guys are missing, Palace are far, far worse. And that's just kind of where they find themselves. They're a traditionally, in recent memory, a mid-table Premier League club that can't attract the best talent ever. Right? Us missing Odegaard, you've seen a noticeable drop-off. But we are a fucking very good team challenging at the top of the Premier League.
Right.
We have players that can get us through that. Right? Palace don't in that situation. And now that they're back, I think you're going to see Palace go 2-3 on the bounce and be okay.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the penalty shout, the passing, the way they stretch the play. IU plays totally different when Eze's in the lineup. Like, everything surrounding Palace revolves around Eberiche Eze and Michael Elise.
Yeah, absolutely. So, finally, Irons score quickly, only to find Awoniyi and Forrest leveling it at the half.
I mean, this is just like your game. It's nuts. Like, real quick, bang. Oh, shit. And then, relatively quick equalizer, and then a go-ahead goal. And then right after halftime, you have the smallest guy on the pitch heading the ball in.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw another thing like last week when I said, would it shock you that Robert Sanchez got a red card? Would it shock you to know, Mr. Graham, that James Ward Prowse might possibly be really good at set pieces?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. Big time. But for the opening goal, they didn't need to because Ibrahim Sangare's ass is better at a set piece than, I'm sorry, is better at open play than James Ward Prowse is at set pieces.
Clearly.
What a pass. To Paqueta to set him through. What a fucking prick. And it wasn't even his fault. He knew nothing about it. He was facing away from his teammate who kicked it into his ass and put it into Paqueta's pathway, which is just funny. But Areola was forced into a good save from an Awoniyi header, and Forest finally had their first real threat, and then they turned that into a platform. They grew into the game, and they ended up, finally getting that breakthrough.
Yeah. And the equalizer from the second equalizer from Forest came from Alenga, who is now really starting to find some goals. He's finding his feet.
Alenga also found the fucking gym since leaving Manchester United. Did you see him when he took his shirt and his bra off?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That dude
muscles.
is cut. Dude is fucking cut.
Made Graham think things.
Mate. I'm not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, as Seinfeld and Costanza once said. But I might be okay with it because I feel like I'd feel safe afterwards.
But of course, it all ends with another James Ward Prowse corner to Souček, which was just like you could see it in slow motion because it was even a big floater that Ward Prowse put up, and you just see Souček. You're like, oh,
here it goes. Yeah,
somebody might want to mark him.
But West Ham were threatening before that. I mean, I think it was Souček also that got a header that went straight at the goalkeeper, and somebody else had a header as well that went off the bar. I think just a few minutes prior to that set piece. So they were threatening, and they were really pushing on at home, of course, and you would expect that. But I think the one that went off the bar was a direct result of a Forest mistake. And then the other one was, again, a free header that just happened to go straight at the goalkeeper.
Yep.
So the signs were there that Forest were going to give it up. But, finally, it went in for West Ham, and that's what they needed.
So here's what I'm going to kind of throw to you now is you were talking about this a little bit last week, how you kind of fear that maybe the championship teams that come up won't really have a chance to kind of stay up because you kind of feel like there's starting to be some stability in the league. And I tend to agree with you. I feel like that like 8th through like 15th, anybody can beat anybody, you know, West Ham, Brentford, Chelsea, we'll get on to them. I think they're turning a corner.
Yep.
But, you know, you think of like Wolverhampton, Palace, Forest, Everton, Fulham. You just kind of feel like all these teams, I'm not really going to be surprised by any outcome in either person's building. You know, I expect certain teams to do really well in their building. Like I expect Wolves and I expect Forest to do very well in their building. Starting to expect Everton to do well on the road. They've been doing well on the road lately. Like
absolutely.
So I kind of feel like all those teams, take them, throw them in a bowl, put them out in any order, and that's how it's going to finish for the end of the year.
What you don't want, right, is so like Fulham, which we're obviously coming on to here shortly. Jimenez gets a goal, hopefully for him and for Fulham. Floodgates open now. Get him a little confidence back, right? You extrapolate that to somebody like Luton. What you're worried about is say Cole Palmer had stayed at City and Pep wanted to toughen him up. We've seen at Chelsea this season, he's a goal scorer. He knows where the fucking back of the net is. Who does Luton get on loan in January?
It would have been a Cole Palmer that they would have
Right.
gotten.
Somebody like that is who they're going to be looking for. Luton try to play decent football, right? So Pep would be okay with that, but they also are a bit tough-nosed, toughen them up a bit. So something along those lines. That's the only thing that I see is going to save the 3 clubs that are in the relegation zone currently / Bournemouth. Right. The only thing Bournemouth's got going for them is they have some Premier League players that are actually still at the club in Philip Billing and Dominic Solanke. And Trevor Nia. Yeah. But if you look at those 3 bottom clubs, the slim pickings there. But if they get the right goal scorer, right, on loan in January from a top Premier League club that's looking to, you know, say somebody wants to send someone to Burnley, one of these clubs, you could be in a situation where they start actually picking up draws and wins, and that will drag teams like Forest in that can't get over the line in this game. That'll drag teams in, you know, like Everton, if you can't pick up those 6 points by the end of the season. Bournemouth, if you can't turn this into consistency, you know, at least draws. Getting points on the board is the most important thing to distance yourself from these teams. Because right now, you're looking, Luton's on 6 points, Fulham's on 12, and they're down to 16th. If Jimenez doesn't start scoring fucking goals properly, you have to, it's a break the glass time.
As we were just hinting at, the bottom of the table saw a couple of surprise points off of European challenging sides. Bournemouth 2, Newcastle 0, Sheffield 1, Brighton 1. Bad week for Newcastle. You can't talk about this match without mentioning the fact that both their strikers got fucking hurt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really, Newcastle should be playing Tottenham week in, week out in the... What better way for Veterans Day or Remembrance Day in England to happen than the 2 most dilapidated fucking sides going head to head?
Jesus.
Because, they are bare thin, and Miguel Marone goes down in the 31st minute.
Oh, my God.
You know, they had, how old is Lewis Cook that started in, I think that was his name, that started in midfield?
I want to say he was a 17-year-old kid.
In the center of midfield because of the suspension of Guimaraes.
Yeah.
Maybe if you saw it originally, Arsenal be top of the Premier League. That's all I'm saying.
Heard.
Absolute dickheads. But on a serious note, it's just such a bad situation for Newcastle. And with the Saudi money, you're surprised that their squad is so paper fucking thin. But I think they have like 11 players out or something ridiculous.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's 11 fucking players. It's not the fact that it's paper thin. It's you lost your entire fucking, like, most of your starting lineup for the most part.
But that being said, 3 of the 4 of the back line, the goalkeeper is all the same. Lewis Hall here, 19 years old. Okay, so he probably shouldn't be, not probably, he shouldn't be there. Two of the three center midfielders are okay, but 17 years, 195 days. You're right for it's Lewis Miley. I'm sorry, not Lewis Cook.
Got it.
But then your front line was Almiron, Gordon, and Joe Linton. You know, remember when Arteta first came to Arsenal, we had all those raft of hamstring injuries. Mm-hmm. The first thing he did was vet the entire physio department. And I think we lost our top doctor. He fired him and got somebody else, I believe.
Right.
And then vetted the entire strength and conditioning staff.
Yeah.
And that's when that American came in. Mm-hmm. Right? I think Eddie Howe's got some work ahead of him with the staff because these players can't keep doing that. I mean, this is absurd.
And it only gets busier.
Oh, yeah.
It only gets much busier.
Remember, before Christmas, the rest of the group stage of the Champions League is completed. Mm-hmm. Then you also have the festive period stuff to do. Mm-hmm. And that's all post a week off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's trouble, man.
Yeah.
I think, now, Newcastle, again, like I said, you know, with Arsenal versus Palace, there should be enough players there that they can get over the line in the majority of their fixtures and they won't plummet.
Right.
Right? But they are losing some very important players, and they do need to fix that.
Oh, God. Well, and here's the other thing.
Because Anthony Gordon can only score goals if he's in a relegation battle.
Right, I heard. The Cherries were far and away the better side. Mm-hmm. This never looked like Newcastle was going to get them. Like, it just...
Yeah, I know.
Cherries were on them.
Yeah, because Miley Cyrus in midfield can't get the job done. Or what was his name? Sorry, I don't know who he is.
But is this...
He's only 17. I shouldn't fuck with him.
This victory does get Bournemouth out of the drop. Is this something to build on for them?
It should be.
Yeah.
Will it be? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the manager looks like Barney from The Simpsons. So I don't know if it's going to be or not.
What you doing, Homer?
Guy just looks so unassuming.
Third draw in a row for the Seagulls. And this is the two of those three they dropped the lead. And
yeah, but this one was the direct result of that red card.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
They were far and away in control of that game.
Yeah. Is the workload too much for Brighton?
Yes.
You know, because they went and they beat Ajax again, so they're doing well in Europa, but those are 3 games you should have won.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's even for me, you know, them coming to Goodison. They should have beat us. They're a better team than we are.
Yeah.
They should have beat Sheffield. They should have beat Fulham.
So here in the Sheffield game, they took the lead very early, again, through another child, Ndigra, that scored against Ajax on Thursday. But they couldn't capitalize on any of the other opportunities they had. Yeah. And they did have a fair few opportunities. But them not being able to capitalize would come back to bite them in the ass again. I mean, here's part of the problem with employing mostly young players. Mm-hmm. You're going to have inconsistencies, especially when that red card happens. And what I say about Sheffield, what I worry more about is they weren't unable to capitalize on the red. They could not overturn a possession stat. They could not overturn the shot stat. They could not overturn the shots on goal stat. Mm-hmm. They were still outpossessed, outshot, despite having 25, almost 30 minutes after stoppage time was finally completed.
Right.
They were still outpossessed 60-40.
And it took an own goal.
They were still outshot 7-1. And they still didn't score the fucking goal, which is exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
So that's where I worry more for Sheffield, obviously, than I do for Brighton. But you're absolutely right. I mean, if you pride yourself on being as organized as you do, De Zerbi, against the worst team in the league, this should have been a 1-0 win.
And
you should have been able to shut up shop enough that this was a 1-0 win.
Yeah.
Now, Adam Webster was always going to feel like he had to make an intervention because there was a Sheffield.
He had to.
There was a Sheffield player directly behind
Cameron
him.
Archer was directly
when
behind.
That cross
ball
came
was
in.
Going in the net if he lets it go by. It's no man's land. But also, what are you doing to allow that probing of a pass to happen in the first?
Well, exactly.
place?
Yeah, and so it all started with Moises Caicedo, or not Moises Caicedo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who their center midfielder anymore is because it's changed 4 times in 4 years. Fuck. Whoever it was didn't step to a player appropriately or challenged the pass prior to that pass, maybe, and was caught out of position, I think it was. that also did happen to Caicedo in the Chelsea City game, which we'll come on to as well, where he was out of position after challenging for a ball he had no business challenging for. But that same thing happened here in that center of midfield, and that allowed the pass to get to the guy to make the cross that had Cameron Archer at the far post and put Adam Webster in a really shit position. And you know something's not going well when somebody like James Milner gets hurt, and that's what happened last weekend, and that's fucking trouble. If that man can't be fit, you're in a world of hurt. Yeah. You're doing something wrong in the training regimen.
That man's always healthy.
He's fucking bionic.
He's never broken down. Not for nothing for Blades, but this is 2 results in a row. So that's something to build on, and they are no longer the worst team. It is now Burnley.
But they're not. I mean, they are. They are the worst team. They're pitiful. But the only thing that this does, and the only blessing, obviously, behind that is that we both picked it prior to the season. But all this does is further delay the inevitable of Heckenbottom getting sacked first, and it's really starting to piss me off.
Yeah.
Because even if it's a tie, I'd prefer to get more than 6 correct this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Of our preseason predictions.
Yeah, I'd like to, too. The problem is we won't.
Right, because this is now taking away one of our fucking opportunities. These stupid 2 results in a row.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least we have the...
And Brighton still had fucking chances.
Yeah.
Sal Pedro should have scored. Should have done better. Ansu Fati should have scored prior to in the 3rd minute or whatever.
Yeah,
There's a few Brighton chances that really should have happened. Even like I said, even after the sending off. So it was like, I don't know. And Sheffield didn't score the goal.
Right.
So I worry for them, man. They're in a bad way, Sheffield United. They really are. Those Blades are dull as can be. That was right off the dome piece, by the way.
Yeah.
So you know. Bang. Get some.
I went ahead and just hit that ice cubes. I had thoughts. No need to fucking continue them. Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, Manchester United 1, Luton 0, Aston Villa 3, Fulham 1, Liverpool 3, Brentford 0, Manchester City 4, Chelsea 4.
Yeah, so that happened.
Yeah, yes, that would have been in the first fucking segment if it wasn't for the fact that we were recording 2 hours after that game was over. So we had to write our notes ahead of time. Sorry. Get over it.
Oh, so that happened.
Talk about City and Chelsea enough.
That game was like if Nazi Germany attacked itself. Like Blitzkrieg versus Blitzkrieg.
It was just insanity.
It was insane.
Well, we'll get to that. But Claret's made it tough for a while, but only for a while.
Yeah, so it took a while to unlock the defense. Mm-hmm. I always knew we were going to do it because they're not very good, obviously. But I feel like we probably would have scored in the first 15 minutes had Odegaard been fit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then so far this season, he's been one that has continued to push forward and continued to stand on the throat of an opponent. And I think we probably would have been 3-0 at halftime, done and dusted, game over. What you worried about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have that creativity at the moment. And then, of course, you have Fabio Vieira getting a red card.
Yeah.
Which didn't help.
It's a straightaway red.
I mean, he was pulling back. His studs made contact with the player's knee. He was pulling back. I could have been okay with a yellow if that tackle had happened against us. Mm-hmm. But you're putting yourself in a position to let the referee make a decision. I think he was looking at the ball coming over his shoulder and he caught him. But I'm perfectly fine with the red card.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. But there was something that was said after the match, and that's really what the fun part of this was. Trossard almost killed himself trying to score, running into the post.
Yeah, running directly into the post.
Zinchenko with a fucking peach and Saliba with a thumping header were the 2 things that were the most important.
Well, and the big thing,
obviously.
too, is Burnley equalized and you guys didn't fold. You found a way to get the goals, get the win, call it a day. You know?
Correct.
It doesn't always have to be your best, but it needs to be a result, and you got the result. And in your case, a result means you need 3 points, not 1, and you got 3 points.
Exactly, and that's all that really matters. Raya kind of fucked up a little bit again here and there, just small kind of worrisome things, but you know, he came through it okay, and we're fine. And it was that little 10-minute stint that Burnley had at the beginning of the second half is what did us in for that goal. but everything there turned out okay. And I'm looking for it, but I can't find the fucking meme, and I should have just saved it to my phone. But did you hear Arteta's post-match presser?
No, I did not.
He said, reporter asked him something to the effect of, what did you think about the red? How did VAR do this week? After his rant last week, obviously, which I'm a fan of.
Call a coach out on it. Call a coach out on it so that they can't have the hypocrisy of being two-sided about the thing. You make them stick to their guns on it.
Well, what I'm happy about is for us, I like getting that emotional reaction because more often than not, it's fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Arteta was a bit over the top. I understand what he's saying and why he's saying it. But you're talking to him 6 minutes after he's screaming at a fourth official. You know, he's still geared up.
And he's also normally pretty fucking even-keeled in interviews. So it's like it's the one time he's been a fucking lunatic. Now, he's a lunatic in the coach's box, but typically in pressers...
Or outside of it.
Yeah. But in pressers, he's normally...
Pretty reserved.
Pretty fucking reserved.
But so they caught him at a high intensity moment last week,
exactly.
Right? So, of course, the first thing they ask him, what did you think about the VAR decision? Do you think it was a straight red? And he goes, I think it definitely was a straight red. I think the referee did a great job. I think the VAR did a great job. I just want to make sure I'm seen on TV saying that I'm with the referees and that I have their back and they're doing a fantastic job. It was just like fucking dick on the table, double down, and super sarcasm.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
There you go. You did a great job
I
this time.
love it. Yeah.
If only you'd done a great job last week.
It's Wayne Rooney applauding in the face of the official that gave him a card as he walked by in the Champions League.
Fucking hysterical.
It was fucking brilliant. I loved everything about it. It was so fucking funny. And that, for me, was probably the most interesting part of the match.
Oh, yeah. United, now sitting in 6th place with a -3 goal differential.
They were terrible in this game.
And they can only manage to beat Luton 1-0 in their own building.
They were terrible in this game. And it was a fucking defender that had to do it. There's $1 billion on the pitch.
Yeah. Rashford, that sitter, he kicked it right at the fucking keeper.
There's just nothing even to say about it.
I told you this a few weeks ago. I said, watch them just quietly win all these stupid games, right? And be in and around it. They're going to get fucking worked when they play a proper fucking club, or they're going to fucking be in and around it. They're going to get these wins, right? Calling it right now, depending on who comes back for them healthy out of the international break, they ain't winning at Goodison. They are not getting, they may only get a draw. It may be a draw, but they ain't getting 3 points at fucking Goodison. They're not.
No.
Because Dyche's team is at least fucking well-tuned and oiled enough to fucking cause them problems.
Oh, yeah.
And beat them on a fucking counter and find them down fucking 1-0.
Absolutely. And then, so one of the lines I wrote, I think the team is worth roughly £1 billion, but just the front line, just the attacking players that United play with in this game are worth at least 25 times what Luton's entire squad is.
Right.
You factor in Martial, remember, was the most expensive teenager at the time he was purchased. It left for $38 million or whatever it was. Marcus Rashford, obviously, I think came up through the academy or was bought very young, so he was relatively cheap. Rasmus Højlund, $75 million or whatever it was. Anthony, $100 million. You look at these. What are you guys doing? They're just not threatening, just absolutely fucking toothless. It's absolutely toothless.
And then the guys they send out like Alanga fucking lighten it up.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's...
But that's what happens when you're not stressed. You're able to get yourself in the gym, get those nice pecs, those perfect abs. I mean, score goals and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's for Luton, you know what? You could have
if I was Luton, I'd be disappointed.
You could have come out of these last two matches losing in a total of a double digits between Liverpool and United. And you came out of it 2-1 on aggregate. You had a draw and a loss. Like, that's... You got to be fairly optimistic of that.
Yeah, but
you're going somewhere.
And the loss should have been a draw, if you really want to say it. Or a win, really. The goal was lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it fell to who it fell to.
Yep.
Because everybody in those front 6 or 7 positions couldn't even put the ball in the fucking net. let alone the back of the net, and it fell to Lindelof.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all he did was hit it hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was fortunate it found its way to him. Luton had chance after chance. Now, granted, there was a few of those chances that were very tame. Mm-hmm. And Onana even had an easy time of it. But there was they forced him into a decent save on more than one occasion in this game as well.
Did he force himself 60 feet into the air to over-exemplify his dive?
Once, yeah. Once he did. But if I was Luton, I'd be disappointed I didn't come away with a point here, honestly.
Villa are fucking again, Mr. Graham.
Yeah, they are. I would now be worried, though, a little bit about a couple of the chances that Fulham had. Mm-hmm. But I think that was more of a result of Villa pushing and trying to keep up the tempo and trying to stay in their face. Mm-hmm. And they also survived that storm for a little bit until they were 3-0 up. You know, finally is when was it Emi Martinez spilled a save into the danger area and no. It was actually a good passage to play. A
little crossover.
Yeah, this one was actually a good passage to play. You're absolutely right.
But also for Fulham, let's just say this real quick. You cannot understate how huge that is that Raul Jimenez put a ball in the back of
Absolutely.
the net. That gets confidence going, that gets him going, because he's still a great goal scorer for Mexico. He still puts the ball in the back of the fucking net. So it's just like
he just needs confidence.
It's like how it was with Chicharito there for a little while when he played in the Prem. It's just like there's been this fucking block, man, and it's, of course, we understand that it comes from that injury that happened. That was, I mean, that really can affect a player, but just getting that goal, man, that's huge for him.
Well, the point that it came in the game was key as well. Because about, 12 or so minutes earlier, he put a ball off the post. Mm-hmm. And it looked like it was a good finish, but it was always just tailing away towards the post and ends up hitting the base of the post. If he walks away from that and not scored and that post still got hit, he wouldn't score the rest of the season.
Yeah, it just gets in your brain.
I cannot do anything to put this ball in the back of the net. But now there's like a huge weight let off his shoulders. Now he can breathe.
Well, and that also then helps because if he suddenly, let's say, by the end of December, he's scored 6 goals, that makes life a lot less tense for Vinicius, who then suddenly maybe has 3 or 4.
Right.
And we start to talk about exactly what you were talking about last week. We don't need those guys to score a ton, but you need to score a certain amount.
Yes.
And that opens it up for Iwobi and Willian and Wilson.
Willian should have scored twice in this game,
too. That opens the game up for those guys to be able to do more.
Definitely.
But ultimately, this is Villa at the fucking races, man. And don't look now. Villa 5th fucking place. They're 1 fucking point behind Spurs. And we're talking about Newcastle and Brighton dropping off. There's a team that has not lost a single fucking step while playing Europe, and that team is motherfucking Villa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it helps that they're going to far away places that no one's ever heard of before.
It does help.
Because they're in the McRib Cup.
Yep.
But you look they are able to rest a player here or there midweek where these other clubs are not yet.
And losing a match, but also losing a match at the City Ground now to Forest last week doesn't sting as bad.
Oh, correct. Yeah, absolutely.
You went to a tough ground. You played a tough opponent.
It's the perfect response.
And this is the response. Boom. Another win at home.
Yeah.
All you do is win at home, except for when it's the League Cup and you lose to Everton. But other than that, all you do is win at home. And
yeah, it's a perfect response. And again, you also have the right people scoring. You have Ollie Watkins on the score sheet. You have John McGinn getting another long range.
What a rip.
It was a great goal.
What a rip.
With his off foot as well.
He put all his ass into that.
I mean, he was so surprised.
His ass went into that one.
He was so surprised he scored. Fucking little alien looking guy.
Another fucking brace for Salah. He's on 10 fucking goals, 5 fucking assists.
Real quick though.
Uh-huh.
We do have to make mention that also secondary CONCACAF legend Anthony Robinson redeemed himself for the assist for Jimenez as well.
Yes, he did.
And it wasn't that own goal was not his fault. Bird Leonard should have done better. He was trying to get out of the way of the fucking ball.
And Diaby made enough confusion to make it very hard to figure
exactly.
out.
But I did CONCACAF co-legends combined for the goal.
Very good.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mo Salah, who needs a haircut, by the way.
Yeah, it's a little
A
shabby
little floppy.
right now. Yeah,
it looks like Sideshow Bob all of a sudden.
I'll go ahead and ask this question right off the jump, and then we can talk more about the game. If the season ended right now and you were doing Player of the Year voting, it's him, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be him.
14 straight games was a stat I heard that he's either scored or assisted at Anfield. And that obviously goes back to last season.
And his 10 goals on 7 less shots than Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
Like, he's just he knows that he has a team around him, and he lets them all play. He just puts himself in the right spots, puts the ball in the back of the fucking net.
And that is a growth from him, because I've heard that him and Sadio Mane didn't get along.
Oh, they hated each other.
Because Mane felt like Salah didn't pass. Well, now Salah doesn't really look like he's involved unless he's making the final touch.
Yeah, it just really great.
Or the touch before the touch.
The Bees, you know what? Right before the second goal, they were starting to push. It looked like they might get an equalizer. They don't. You know what? This is at Anfield. They had just had a bad week in Europe, and that draw at Luton. You kind of had to figure you were going to be the buzzsaw.
Did you see the meme of Klopp?
No,
you know how the excuses, the wind, the this, the that. We were playing against two teams, Brighton and Hove Albion. The reporter was the fake thing. The reporter said, so what went wrong today? And Klopp's response with that stupid face he has on in that meme said, what do you mean what was the problem? We played to lose, so I thought we were supposed to lose. Very funny. That was pretty good.
Yeah. And also, much like Mo Salah, don't look now. Liverpool are second fucking place. And after we come out of the break, the very first game that kicks off the fucking weekend, City fucking Liverpool.
Love it. Love everything about that.
Yeah.
No break here, motherfucker. Get right to it.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal will coast right to first place.
Well, and we also know that means that Liverpool Klopp is going to bitch and moan that it's the early fucking
but
match.
they're gonna draw 3-3. We're gonna win 4-0 and just bang, we're right in.
There you go.
It's
Move right in.
Perfect. The other thing I do want to say about this though too, 10 shots on target from 17 total shots. Brentford only had 3. That's your difference.
Yeah.
When Brentford traditionally beats a big side, it takes them 7, 8, 9 shots on target to do so. They just were not ruthless enough. They're going to be dying for Tony to come back to find some consistency. The only problem is I don't know if he is going to come back.
Tony
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Correct.
Tony wants to be sold.
And I think he wants to be sold to us.
The other one I heard was Spurs.
Well, he's just a whore then, if that's the case.
That is exactly the case.
As soon as Richarlison comes back from his broken cock, they won't need him.
Exactly. I'll tell you what, this City-Chelsea game felt more like a midweek Champions League match than it did a match in the Premier League. It was absolute crazy end-to-end stuff. Just insanity.
Fucking, what did Claudio Ranieri say? Dilly ding, dilly dong. I mean, this is back and fucking forth, man.
Insane.
This is two heavyweights. Two heavyweights that just don't know how to.
Oh, don't like that? How about that?
They just don't know how to block. Yeah, it's just haymaker, 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 just back and forth. 32 shots between them. 19 of 32 shots on target.
Jesus.
More than 50%. That's what you want to see. I mean, that's a fucking game, that is.
Well, and City take the early lead, but then Chelsea turn around.
But that opening goal was also quite weird. Was also quite weird. And then the pen.
Yeah.
Was it? I guess it was.
Yeah.
I guess.
But
I mean, VAR is perfect. I'm behind them. I know them 100%, and I'm fully with them. I think that they did a great job.
But then the comeback from Chelsea.
I want to be heard on this podcast saying that.
Only to see the comeback from Chelsea, to then see the comeback from City, to then finally see right at the end, Cole Palmer, the old
City
player,
just sold this summer.
Yep.
That's
scoring the penalty.
We don't predict or talk about the most surprising bit of business that happens all summer. I think that might have been the most surprising bit of business because he was actually starting to get a run out for City.
Right.
I think he played in the Community Shield for City against us.
Yeah, he did. He scored the goal against you guys. Yeah. Oh, that's great. This is what we got to talk about.
All right.
Erling Haaland finding new ways to score scored with his motherfucking taint.
We call that the Big Sam special.
He scored with his taint. Does he have like a little Taylor there to like a little foot?
Little
kick
head,
the ball?
little header.
Kick the
Yeah,
ball.
little header there.
I was just watching the replay over and over, and I was like, "Nah, that ain't his dick. That hit his taint."
Well, if it was you, it would not have been your taint. Is the problem? It would have been your nutsack.
Hard.
So 3 balls crossed the line there. Okay. Yeah, it was interesting finish to say the least. It's an interesting finish to say the least. It's pretty good though. And then VAR got involved to see if his elbow touched it before it crossed the line. Go fuck yourself.
Do not take that goal away
If
from
you
us.
ever-
Do not take that
Go fuck
fucking goal
yourself.
away from us.
That's what I'm saying. This is the other part of VAR that makes me mad too. Is, stuff that should be looked at, stuff that should be talked about, kind of isn't in a lot of cases. So they fuck up the protocol, or they do this, or they do that, whatever, and it makes that annoying. And then they take too long, and then people get hurt, and then all this kind of stuff. This sort of goal, it's like now you're just looking for any fucking minute thing. The ball was going in anyway, so what if it touched his elbow? He was sliding on his ass after being pushed, might I add.
Right.
Facing away from the ball, and he braced himself. Even if it touched his elbow, it's a goal for me.
Right. It's a goal.
It's garbage. What are you looking at? If your job is to try to disallow goals, the goals are the best bit. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
And if you just, on the face of it, if he's sliding, there's a coming together. He got his nutsack to the ball. Or tip of his dick. He's got a small dick. Has to. He's too big otherwise.
Big B apparently agrees.
Yeah, see? At least I got somebody in my corner. Get the peanut butter, Sam.
That's saved for injury time, my friend.
But what I'm saying is it like, and he's still facing the stands, sliding into the goal with it, braced himself for the fall. Fuck that. There's absolutely no possible fucking way that could have been a handball, even if it touched his arm. The ball was already headed towards the net as well.
Right.
So it's not like he helped it. If anything, he almost hurt it from going in if it touched him. It's just stupid. And it annoys me. And I think they check on the wrong shit.
Real quickly, back to Cole Palmer's penalty finish. The key thing in that, too, is that there was a lot of time between the foul and the penalty. And you saw like Erling Haaland walking up and talking shit to him.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were,
He kept his head.
Kept his head, and the celebration was almost perfect, where he just stood in front of and just shrugged his shoulders, went, "Huh,
This is what I
guess
do."
This is what I do." fucking
Love
brilliant.
both former City players scored.
Yep.
Because Raheem Sterling got one as well.
Yep, absolutely.
What a cross from Reece James.
That one too,
And a direct result of a City mistake.
the celebration, he was over to the corner and was facing towards where the Chelsea fans were, because this is exactly where we were when we were there for Everton Chelsea, and
On the shed end.
one of the Chelsea players, I don't know who it was, kept trying to turn him towards the City fans, and Sterling's like, nope, we are not doing that.
Yep.
We are not fucking doing that.
Yeah, and then Nicholas Jackson's goal was also quite good. The composure he had there, little selfish. I think whoever was right, might have been Cole Palmer actually, had a better angle. But Nicholas Jackson reached out, grabbed it, took it in his stride and did well to find the composure to finish.
Final question for you. Are Chelsea now turning a corner?
I think so. After the result against us, Spurs, obviously, they were helped greatly. Deservedly so, don't get me wrong. They were both red cards.
Right, and you still have to win the game.
Yeah, you still have to go do the job.
You saw Sheffield do nothing against a 10-man.
Correct.
Brighton, you saw earlier in the season Newcastle lose a 1-0 lead to a 10-man Liverpool. So, like, you still have to go do it. So they did it.
Correct. I do think that they are. And I like I said, this happens to us constantly. And this may just be, obviously, because I'm biased against Arsenal. Or with Arsenal, rather, against everyone else. But this tends to happen as people use us as a launch pad or a platform to build their season. And that 2-2 against us seems to have turned the corner for Chelsea and fucked us in the title race at that point.
Always about a pro-Arsenal agenda.
Goddamn right, my friend.
Sure money.
So sure, I've lost 4 in a row. I am now down to only being up 253, if that makes sense, because I lost another $100. And this time, it was because of Old Shanty. Mm-hmm. My wife finds it very funny to say the opposite when something is called something very obvious, right?
Right.
She asked me how I did on my bet this week, and I said, yeah, Newcastle fucked me. And she goes, Newcastle? You mean Old Shanty? I said, I'm using that on the show.
Thank you very much, darling.
So, yeah, and then, of course, we're not going to be making our bets this week because it is the international break. You will find out next week what we bet for the following weekend.
But that's going to be on injury time next week since we're not doing a main show.
So pay for it very simply. Patreon.com/DU Football Show, and just pay for that $5 and you can hear our bets.
There we go. Arsenal and Burnley gave me the goals that I needed, but Brighton and Blades couldn't manage to score me one more goal. If they did, I would have hit. So I missed, and I am at 163. I'm still up.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Mr. Graham, 27% of the time. Works 100% of the time.
Speaking of 27.
It actually almost matches the shirt. The
I know, right? 0.9999. It's not the same number, but did you notice that Phil Foden has 47 tattooed behind his ear?
No, I did not.
He does. Interesting.
Do you know why?
Well, his jersey number is 47.
Okay.
Just I guess.
Fair.
What if he changed his shirt?
Kitty hit it on her bet. She's back to winning ways and now is at 7-4. And Pat missed because he bet Palace. So fuck you, Pat. That's how it works. That is going to wrap it up, Mr. Graham. Do you have any parting words for us today?
I do not. There weren't really many bad things that I saw this week, to be honest with you. It was good, nice. Just ease into the international break. Everybody calm down. Nothing to see here.
Nobody get hurt. Please, nobody get hurt.
Right. No cuntiness. We're good to go.
All right. Very good. Little programming note for everybody. Like we mentioned, next week, the international break, we're actually going to go ahead and finally take one off.
Yep.
Much needed because both of us have got a lot of shit going on right now. And but we are going to do, for all your Patreon people, we are still going to do a sound check and an injury time. And we still will do an EFL show because there will be EFL action going on. And we'll have the betting segment in injury time for next week. And then we will see you all in a couple of weeks. Of course, like I said, the aforementioned injury time is up next, where we're going to check in on the IBS, talk about our fantasy sports, the beers we've been drinking. And
then fuck off because there's nothing to preview.
Yeah, pretty much it. So it's going to be, we gave him a long sound check. It's going to be a short injury time. So again, Mr. Graham, one more time, should somebody want to find injury time, how do they go about doing
Hold
it?
on, let me hike my pant leg up for the taxi that is our listeners. It is patreon.com/DU Football Show. Just sign up to that $5 tier and come along for the ride with us.
Very good. I love it. And of course, check out the Drip Shack if you want to find any of your fly-ass gear.
That's right. Get the shirts, get the pillows, get the slides, get the mugs, get the caps, anything you need.
And hey, you know what? I think I managed to get through. Now I still have to edit it and post it, which I can fuck that all up as well. But
yeah,
producer Mel, come back.
Just save it a third time just to be safe.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great time.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of a lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Grammy.